So now that we are at a state that we can start pretty much creating all the interfaces for our game. Okay, we have our actual game or our level editor. We're going to make a menu system and tweak the season master so that we can actually have a menu and either go into the level editor and do everything we've already done over here, or go to actually go and play a game. Yeah, the grid is, the UI is a little bit off right now. Okay, and so on. Now what we're going to do is basically separate a few stuff from scene to scene. So we will start with a new scene. It's a completely new scene, okay, which is going to serve as our main menu. Okay, nothing else. Has only models, and these models are not even are just placeholder or just for visual effect. Okay, and they have an animator with just a single animation and a new script that, yeah, it's pretty much for polishing. They are not important. Okay, the only thing that is important in this scene is this start game object, which has this little script over here, which only thing that does is loads the dependencies scene, and it loads them additive. So let's go to our important scene, which is the dependency scene. This scene has nothing, has no camera, but it has a season master game object, which has the season master script, the database, the load database, and the main menu handler. The main menu handler is a new scene, is a new script, which we're actually going to add a new canvas over here, which we're going to call our main menu, and it's going to have for right now, of course, we already have an options menu scene or a project. Okay, this just has two buttons and a levels grid, which I also, since I'm here, I should probably fix. Let's anchor it like that, and let's make it a little bit bigger. Hope it's not too big, and let's place it something like this. Okay, so it has also a loading bar or something to indicate that we're loading, and our two buttons for our main menu. We're going to see the buttons in a bit. Then I also have my resources over here, resources manager, and the level save load. So what this means, we actually have to remove all the scripts and these scripts from the level editor scene. Okay, not just the level editor, the start scene we previously calling it, and on our level editor, which was the previous start scene, we need to do a few changes, and most importantly on the level creator. So on the level creator, I'm going to add a public game object reference for the level creator UI, which is this canvas, because we cannot have cross-dependent scenes. We cannot have dependencies from scene to scene. Okay, so instead of getting the references of the canvas through script, let's just use it from over here, and we can open it or close it every time we want to. Okay, as far as the other scene is concerned, the in-game scene, everything stays the same, so we're not messing with this. Let's go to the dependency scene, and we should start doing the changes on the season master. For the most part, it's going to remain the same, but let's take it from the start. Okay, we have level editor. This is useless, so let's delete it. If we are on the level editor, okay, all this stuff stays the same except of the main menu handler, which is the new script we're going to add. We also need to have a boolean if we're loading. If we want to start the season, which is either go to the level editor or start the game, or and if we are already in session, and of course the main menu handler. The main menu handler is also a singleton, so for the moment just keep that in mind. Okay, and we're going to come in a bit over here. It's just a singleton. So we start with we get the instances and we say we're loading, of course, and we tell to the main menu handler to load. Basically it's going to open the load UI element and going to start the coroutine which loads the database. It loads. After it loaded the database, if you remember, we're using this function as somewhat of a callback, but instead of using the start coroutine continuum we had before, we're going to say that we stopped loading. We're going to close the loading UI element, and then we're going to let update take place. So in update we can have, if we are not loading and if we are not in session, then when the player clicks we're going to enable the start session, and it's going to continue with the coroutine to either go into a level or go to the level editor, and it's going to say that our session has started. So on continue we're going to do a few changes. We're going to do a yield return load scene async, which is the level editor, and we're going to add it to load the scene mode additive. We're going to unload the menu scene. Keep in mind that names are important over here, are case sensitive. Okay, we're unloading the menu since there's no point to keeping those models in memory. Okay, since this scene is pretty much useless after we start playing the game. But we have to make active the current loaded scene will load. So we wait till this the level editor scene loads, and we're going to make active that scene. And we do that because we also have lighting information and light maps and all that into our new scene, or into each scene we're going to load. So we want to use those variables, those lighting information, instead of the ones we have on our menu scene. Okay, now we need to set up the references from over here. Previously I was using this in the start, but it's better if we are just doing over here, since we do not know when actually this is going to run. So a few stuff like the level creator is not yet loaded, since the level creator exists only in the level editor scene. Okay, and we get the level save load script. Okay, we start creating the level. This stays the same, and then if we are going into the level editor or not. If we are not going to the level editor, then we're going to say load level button. We pass the level name. This is a string we have over here. We close the level creator UI, since there is no point to having we are starting the game, we're not making a new level, and continue loading game scene and initialize the level. This stays the same. If we are going to the level editor, then we also have to enable the level creator UI and then enable the level editor. Okay, these are the major changes we need to do for our session master. Since we see this, let's go and check our main menu handler. So here's where we are going to store our references. We need a reference to the menu canvas, to the main menu, which is it's these two buttons. The level select, which is the level grid, which all our levels are going to go as buttons inside this grid, and the loading bar is just a button that writes loading, and if you change it a bit like this, it's going to show. Okay, simple. So we need a reference to our level save load, And a UI button prefab, it's the same like the one we use on our level creator, but we have a different script assigned to onClick. Okay, but otherwise it's just the same as the load level UI button. And this script, all it does is has a string, a text, and a reference to a session master, which is not even saved. So when you are loading the scene, you find the reference, you find the main menu handler and say close the menu. You pass the name to the session master and you say to the session master start your session. Okay, back to the main menu handler. That was the prefab. On start, we set active our menu canvas and we get a reference to the level save load. Now, if we're saying we're loading, if we're calling the function that we are loading, we close the main menu, we close the level select game object, and then we open the loading bar. If we have finished loading, we close the loading bar, we open the main menu, and then we create the UI buttons for all our available levels. So this only loads when this only runs when we have finished reading our text files or wherever we have saved our levels. Okay, so this comes and creates prefabs for all our levels, and no prefabs, buttons for all our levels, and passes the level name and on the text of that UI element so that we know what level we want to play. Okay, simple enough. We have seen this before. We saw the singleton. If we want to close the menu, we use main menu, set canvas false. Okay, open level select, true, and continue on. Now, what we can actually do, also, it's now that I thought of it, we can go back into the session master, and before we start our coroutine that plays the in-game level scene, load in-game scene. Okay, we can come over here and say main menu handler dot loading, and after it loads, since this it might take a while since it's a big scene. Okay, we can come and say, we can actually, instead of closing this over here, we can come and close it even further down, since this creates the level, initializes it, and after we have passed all that, let's see where this ends. So in theory, if I just add main menu handler, close menu over here, it should just close the loading menu when we are at, when it loads the whole level. But let's see where I've placed this before. Yeah, instead of adding this inside our main menu buttons we haven't seen, I'm going to close this, or not, let's keep this one over here. Yeah, let's remove this from over here. Okay, so I remove the thing, so I want to close the menu after we actually loaded our level. So if we are loading for a long time our level, then we can have at least we can have the loading bar. Of course, you can just add a whole black screen behind your loading bar. Instead of being like this, you can just make it like this. Let's just say, of course, it's kind of look really bad right now. Something like that. Okay, and when I click play, you will see that for as long as it's loading, it's going to look like a black scene, and yeah, I should probably start from the menu. For as long as the loading is going to be a black screen, of course, yeah, I should make it to cover the whole screen. And when we are loading, yeah, it didn't work exactly as expected, because the level editor scene also, yeah, I'm closing the menu somewhere else too, which I don't know where. Or yeah, I think, yeah, we should add this further below, further back. Let's add this in the beginning of the continuum, and let's try and fix, let's drop the dependencies over here. Oh, one other thing, when you are loading the in-game scene, you also need to make that active scene, okay? Otherwise you won't get the lighting information and you might have a few more problems. And on the dependency scenes you also need the event system, and you actually need to delete from all your other scenes an event system. You only can use only one. And let's see, let's make this the active scene, because loading bar, let's make it be, this will probably work. Yeah, I think it worked. Let's test it. In menu, let's hit play. Okay, it loads, has loaded. Of course, there's a problem with the asset bundles because we have already loaded them. Start game. Okay, you see all that, and of course you can actually, and I think yeah, just Unity bugs, I think. Main menu, yeah. Okay, if you want to handle it that way. Now let's go into, we saw our main menu handler, and we also have an open level select function over here, so that we can open the level select grid, the game object. Let's see now that let's go and watch what we have inside our buttons. So for our main menu we have a start game and a level editor. This has a script called main menu and a button type. Of course we assign that into on click, and we only have one function called click on button. We have an enum so that we can separate what we're going to do if we want to start the game or the level editor. We use the enum, of course, to select. We need a reference to the decision master and our main menu handler. If we click on the button, we get the references, and depending on the button type, we either say to the start decision equals false on decision master, and go into our main menu, open level select, and opens the level select game object. So we have our buttons we have created for all our levels, so we select what level we want to play. If it's the level editor, we need to go and say to our decision master, and we should probably just add this to false. Okay, we say to the decision master that we want to start a level editor session, and we say true, and close menu will also be and we close the menu. And yeah, instead of doing this over here, we should probably delete this and go back into our session master, and let's make sure that we have actually, we are closing it on the correct place. So I'm actually going to add this at the very end of my coroutine over here. So let's also go and make the loading bar to render over everything else, and I actually have to go and find this sort order. Let's place this to 1. I think that should probably do it. Menu, hit play, you see it loads. Start game, loads, and we are back into our game, and we can actually play as it is. Let's try the level editor. Okay, and we are back into our level editor, and we can create new levels and all that. So that's what we had to cover in this video, and I think I covered everything. So let's make sure we actually did. Main menu, start level editor, of course you are assigned button type level editor. Studio master, we have everything. Yeah, just make sure you pass the correct references, the correct scripts on these dependencies, on the dependency scene. Basically I want this into a separate scene that has nothing else but this, because I want to take it wherever whatever scene it loads. I want to take this always with me. Okay, of course you can add a don't destroy or load on all these game objects and they will never be destroyed, but as far as this is concerned, you can do it this way. Okay, so we've covered everything. I'm going to end the video. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, Patreon or Gumroad and all that, and I'll see you next time.